musicians have talked about this forever, even falling into full-blown arguments. And that's who makes the list of the best bassists of all time. It's a fun discussion because everyone qualifies musicians in different ways. For instance, some people care about technical skill and music theory abilities. Others care about which bands the bassists were in and who had the most mass appeal. Some care about the tours and number of albums sold. Many defer to the authorities and argue for those who have won the most awards. And here are the 10 best bassists of all time by Ledgernote. John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones has worked with countless of the top musicians in the world as a session musician, arranger, writer, and producer. He was already considered one of the best while playing on songs for Jeff Beck, Cat Stevens, Donovan, etc. But we all know and love him as the bassist and keyboardist of Led Zeppelin. Jones was content to play a supporting role, but it was his licks, riffs and rhythms that formed the backbone to the great songs from one of the most celebrated bands of all time. The amount of tours, albums, TV shows and charity events he's appeared on or at are too many to number, but stand as a testament to his commitment to the arts. John Paul Jones, after the disbanding of Led Zeppelin, formed a supergroup with Dave Grohl and Josh called them Crooked Vultures. Other players on this very list consider Jones to be their greatest influence, like Getty Lee, Flea, Gene Simmons and more. Jaco Pastorius. Jaco Pastorius is a name well known amongst bassist circles. The normal music fan may not know his name but have heard him tearing it up with artists like Joni Mitchell, Herbie Hancock, Pat Metheny and other greats. He's known for his unique fusion of jazz, big band, Caribbean and Latin styles and Motown flavors. Musicians consider Pastorius' stamina and expressiveness a gold standard to meet, especially when it comes to playing fretless bass and steadily thumping out 16th notes. He was the embodiment of the concept of effortless mastery using techniques like artificial harmonics and the movable anchor. Jaco Pastorius started out playing the drums, but a wrist injury while playing football led to him picking up the bass guitar. He met an early end at age 35 due to a confrontation with a bouncer at a club. One of his own influences was Charles Mingus, who also makes this list. His signature bass of doom eventually became a custom shop Fender series. Victor Wooten. Victor Wooten is known for his mastery of complex R&B arrangements and involved jazz melodies, with many saying he picked up where Jaco Pastorius left off but with a lot more funk. He holds his own, developing new techniques such as double thumping and much more. His mark on music goes beyond performance. He holds bass nature camps, has written a lesson book, released 11 solo albums, and has partnerships with other bassists to promote the art form. He plays his signature model of bass by Fodera. Victor Wooten has been a guest of the Dave Matthews Band many times, creating some of their most memorable moments thanks to his solos. He's won Bass Player of the Year from Bass Player magazine 3 times. Getty Lee. Getty Lee is the musical genius you find in the band Rush, playing the bass, keyboards and performing as the lead vocalist. He'll even do all three at once with foot pedals, acting as a one-man rhythm section. He's stacked up 7 Grammy nominations and over 40 million records sold thanks to this incredible talent. His bass playing style includes treating it as a lead instrument, during which he rails on the strings extremely hard and focuses on the high treble. In 1988, Fender released the Getty Lee Jazz Bass Signature Model. His other musical awards include even governmental titles from Canada, his home country. Getty Lee's bass inspirations include Paul McCartney, Chris Squire and James Jamerson. He himself acts as an inspiration to Les Claypool and many others. His unique vocals are considered a countertenor falsetto. He's a huge watch and wine collector and has over 5,000 bottles. Stanley Clark. You may not have heard of Stanley Clark, but he's a huge winner. He's scored 5 Grammys with 15 total nominations, largely along with Chick Corea in their band Return to Forever. He's arguably the first bass superstar, headlining sold-out shows globally and having records reach gold status. As seen in the image above, Clark's bass playing technique involves an extremely bent wrist to approach the strings like an upright bass. This helps him achieve the percussive attack of his slap-in pop sound. His initial goal was to join the Philadelphia Orchestra. Stanley Clark has scored many movies and TV shows, including Pee-wee's Playhouse and Boys in the Hood. In 2010, Clark founded a label called Roxborough Entertainment Group, named after his high school. His electric bass is permanently on display at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. Les Claypool. More people have heard Les Claypool's music than they realize, because he's been tapped to compose for so many TV shows. He's the madman that wrote the South Park theme song, for instance. He's also the founding lead musician for the band Primus, where he also contributes lead vocals. Claypool is known for his unique bass playing style that includes unusual techniques such as a combination of tapping, slapping, flamenco-style strumming and guitar chording. 2 of his main inspirations are none other than Getty Lee and Chris Squire. Go listen to Jerry Was a Race Car Driver to understand how unique and crazy this guy's playing is. Les Claypool has composed for many TV shows and video games, such as writing the theme songs for South Park and Robot Chicken. He's an avid fly fisher. He records most of his music himself, self-producing and engineering at his studio at his home, the Rancho Relaxo. Larry Graham. Larry Graham is not only a pioneer in the soul and funk genres, but is also considered the inventor of the slapping technique for electric bass guitar. He calls it thumping and plucking. This percussive addition to the bass sound has been used by other greats since, like Bootsy Collins, Victor Wooten, and Stanley Clark. The story is that in an early band his mom fired the drummer and Graham had to learn to add drum sounds to his playing. This changed the funk genre forever. He's not sure if his mom was being cheap at the time or not, but has no regrets. Larry Graham worked closely with Prince on his solo album GCS 2000. His son is singer-songwriter Derek Graham and the uncle of rapper Drake. One of his solo albums only had 1,000 copies printed and was sold exclusively at concerts. James Jamerson. I might get a wave of emails for not putting James Jamerson in the #1 slot, and I recognize the guy that played bass on nearly every Motown song may deserve that spot. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and has pushed 23 songs onto the Billboard Hot 156 onto the #1 spot on the R&B charts. He expanded the simple bass playing style of the time by adding in inversions, syncopation, ghost notes and chromatic runs. His changes were so well received that he became an integral aspect of the Motown sound. He also, as an early adopter, helped solidify how electric bass guitar should be played. James Jamerson was a member of the Funk Brothers, a group of studio musicians that played most of the Motown hits in the 1960s and 70s and then played gigs in the evenings. It's impossible to list all the hits, but he played on top songs for the Supremes, The Temptations, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Gladys Knight and so many more. Flea. Flea is a founding member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. His playing style includes hard rock, funk, and punk elements accentuated by slapping and popping the strings. His skill was so desired that from 1995 to 1998, he recorded on over 40 records by other artists, like Alanis Morissette's classic Jagged Little Pill. Their concert at Hyde Park in 2002 is the highest-grossing concert at a single venue ever. His passion for growth never ended, and in 2008 he enrolled in college to study music theory, composition and jazz trumpet. That's what it takes to be one of the best bassists of all time. Flea's real name is Michael Peter Balzeri. He's an actor and has appeared in over 20 films and TV shows. He is a co-founder of Silver Lake Conservatory of Music for music education for underprivileged kids, and he met Anthony Kiedis. John Entwistle. John Entwistle was the bassist for the English rock band The Who. He was the only member to have formal music training, and that was reflected in his skill. Like Getty Lee, he played with full treble at high volumes using pentatonic lead lines that set him apart and earned him the nicknames of the Ox and Thunderfingers. He managed to attend school with other music greats, which led to his involvement in several top-tier bands of the time. His playing style included methods like fingerstyle, tapping, using a pick and incorporating plenty of harmonics. He called his style the typewriter approach. John Entwistle was a huge inspiration on many others on this list like Getty Lee and Chris Squire. He played a big role in the development of the roto-sound roundwound strings. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990 as a member of The Who.